What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video, and today we're here to talk about the information, the first details for Luffy and Yamato. We finally have the information. We were waiting, like, when are we going to get this info for what all of these units do in greater detail, and now we have the whole unit information breakdown for you guys. Now, obviously, this is not a really hype anniversary, at least thus far, but what we can say is that the units that they are providing are indeed very strong, even though the theming of this celebration isn't to everyone's liking so far. And I do still think there's going to be additional legends that are going to be releasing over the next couple of weeks to go in with the rest of the anniversary celebrations. I feel like this is just like the introduction to anniversary. I hope at least that there's going to be more coming, because you know, the theming thus far with just it being Luffy and Yamato isn't very exciting. There is going to be two videos. There's going to be this one talking about Luffy and Yamato. I'm going to leave the Odin and Toki for a separate video, because I assume this is going to take a pretty long time to break down for you guys in terms of all of their abilities. So shout out to the Twitter account for putting all of this up there. We can have a quick breakdown at what Luffy and Yamato have. So Luffy is strength, Yamato is dex, Luffy will be free spirit and fighter, I do believe, and then Yamato is free spirit and striker, being free spirit and striker in their combined form. Confirmed that they have final tap. They do not have the new Rush Sugo special mechanic, which is why I say that I do think that there's going to be an additional set of characters coming out later, because no character has this new mechanic yet, which is very, very bizarre. But pinch healing and slot bind for the other two, which is, I guess, pretty stock standard. We did see most of this information yesterday, but there is some other interesting information which further gives us a little bit of info as to how this character is going to function in game. So the captain ability of this unit is incredibly strong. Strength Dex Quick, -2 cooldown. Free Spirit, Striker, and Fighters receive -1 cooldown, which means if you have a Strength Dex Quick unit that is also Free Spirit, Striker, and Fighter, you get -3 cooldown at the start of the quest, which is incredible. And while I do love this speed farming mechanic, there's a couple of things about that. Number one, there isn't really a lot of content out there to speed farm anyway, which is kind of stupid. But the fact that this character does have this ability to gain so much cooldown so quickly actually goes against what this character actually tries to do, and I'll talk more about that later. Furthermore, 1.3 health, which is good. 1.2 recovery. A lot of people overlook that, but 1.2 recovery is pretty insane, especially if you're in a situation where you're using double recovery boosting captains. The amount of recovery you get from this is absurd. You're gonna be healing for over 6,000 per recovery slot or something. Boosting strength, dex, and quick characters and free spirit characters attacked by the 6x multiplier, which, remember, this is the dual unit, so likely in the singular form, it's probably gonna be in the range of, what, 5 to 5.5, probably in that range, which is incredible as a solo unit, but the 6 times in their combined is absurd. All other characters still receive a 5.25 times captain. Strength, dex, recovery, and tandem slots are beneficial, allow you to consume recovery slots with perfects, 30% damage reduction, and then one of the best abilities in this captain, removing 10 turns of bind anytime you're inflicted with it, which unfortunately, if you do get despaired and then you're inflicted with bind, it doesn't remove it, so you got to be careful about that. But I will say, a very, very good captain ability. I don't think too many people are, you know, too upset about that. It's a good captain. Now, you got the special of this unit, which we know is good, but we weren't too sure how this was going to work in game. So the effect, launching special as a double character, will have a stronger effect. What they're stating here is the stronger effect, -2 cooldown to the crew, boosting strength, dex, quick character slot effects by 3.25 for 2 turns, 80% damage reduction, and then changes adjacent slots into Wano. I will say that one part about this special that's annoying is that the changing of slots doesn't actually go through block slots, so that actually kind of hurts. And also 2 times increased damage taken that goes through status effects, which is one of the most broken mechanics in the game. I believe the only other increased damage taken that's been able to do that was Final Tap Law, which is only a 1.5 times increased damage taken, and Tandem Kaido, which came out, which was able to inflict increased damage taken to the opponent. And if obviously you get the Super Tandem activated, I think you can get upwards of a 2.25 times increased damage taken that goes through immunity, but that does require a lot of setup, whereas now you just have a special that automatically gives you a 2 times boost, which is pretty crazy. Now, it also says that if you have a damage reduction boost when you activate the special, and a slot effect boost when you activate the special, it'll extend the duration of attack boost, slot effect boost, and chain locks by 1 turn. So, you know, if you use this character special and you have another special activatable, then you can go ahead and get the buff to launch to get the additional effects. So, you know, the special, I think it's pretty good. It's a good special, but that's the thing, right, is if you don't launch the special when you're in the dual form, then the special that you get is a lot weaker. Like, it's only a 3x orb boost, 60% damage reduction, adjacent slots become recovery slots instead, the increased damage taken is only 1.75, and it doesn't actually go through status effects, so you actually lose a lot of value if you don't use the special when you're in the dual form. So you do have to set it up in that way where you're able to do that. Now, the crewmate effect here, base attack by 100, makes recruits tandem and recovery slots beneficial. One thing I am a little upset about is this character does have the ability to resist special reverse, like it will giving you -2 cooldown when it's not a multi-stage special, and they don't have the ability to resist special reverse. That would have been one change I would have loved to have seen in this unit. But of course, we have the final tap of this unit, when it says, when any 3 of the following characters are on the crew in the final battle. So you've got Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Chopper, Robin, Frankie, Brook, Jinbei, Momo. I will say, that is an absolutely terrible final tap condition. Because not only is it only on the final battle, but you need to have 3 specific units in your crew to get it. I would go as far as to say it's probably one of the least exciting final taps. And I mentioned this in my video yesterday discussing how disappointing the anniversary celebration is that final tap is not really a selling point anymore, unless if it's a final tap akin to Luffy and the Straw Hats, or like Kinemon, Denjiro, Ashura Doji, Dogstorm, whatever it's called. You know, it's just not an exciting final tap. And the fact you've got here 2000 base attack, I called that, by the way. I was talking with people and I said it's probably just going to be a base attack boost, right? And that's exactly what they've done. 2000 base attack that stacks with other base attack effects, and then you do get an attack boost based on your damage reduction for 1 turn. And this is giving the example, you get a 1.6 boost at 60% damage reduction. When you look at level 4, you get a 1.3 at a 60% damage reduction. So basically at level 4, so whatever damage reduction you have, it basically halves the multiplier. So if you have an 80% damage reduction, you get a 1.4 boost. But at level 5, if you have an 80% damage reduction, it'll be a 1.8 boost. But remember that the final tap will only be for the final attack, so you only get that boost then. And the fact that it has such a strict condition too, like, that's really bad. I'm not a big fan of the condition. Before recording this video, I didn't even see this, so seeing this now is kind of harsh, so I'm not a big fan of that. But this is where things get a little crazy. So we have the switch effects of this unit. The base switch completely removes their own paralysis, despair, and slot bind. Okay. Changes their own slot into Wano that goes through block slots. So you're able to get a guaranteed Wano slot on this character every single turn. So that is pretty good. Then it will boost the color affinity of free spirit characters by 1.5, but it is an overwritable color affinity. So we know 1.5 color affinity isn't that great, but the fact that you can use this switch whenever you need it, and if you've got a better color affinity special on your crew, you can use that instead. So I like that about it. So it's an overridable color affinity boost, likely will have better uses in the future when characters say, you know, if you have a color affinity boost to get this effect instead, you know, this has some good uses. But the big thing is with their super switch. Now, their super switch does require 8 swaps. That is awful. Now, of course, in Treasure Map and in Kizuna Clash, we know that that'll become fully charged. But in normal content, this is what I was saying before about their cooldown. In their captain, they give you so much cooldown reduction, but you still have to stall 8 turns for their switch effect, and you definitely need it, because it will do the same utility effect of removing paralysis, despair, and slot bind on themselves. I will say, removing slot bind on themselves whilst having the slot bind potential ability, probably one of the most dumbest decisions I've ever seen. But anyways, we move. It changes their own slot into Wano, and it will give the crew a 2.5 color affinity boost to free spirit, which is a very good color affinity boost, and then becomes Luffy and Yamato for 3 turns. So this is how we were wondering, how do you use the special of this unit in their dual form? It will generate from the super switch, being able to become the dual unit with a switch effect, and then use their special whilst in their dual form to get the buffed version of their special. So that's the way that this character is meant to work. You use their super switch, you then use their special, and then you're good to go. So we've already discussed that there's lots of issues here. You know, the -2 cooldown without resisting special reverse, not a fan of that per se. The final tap requirement is terrible. Cooldown reduction captain, but you know, you need to stall 8 turns for their super switch. Probably not a good look, as you can see there. But everything else aside from that, it is pretty strong at the end of the day. It's a very strong character. Now, that's all just the normal effects of this character. The next thing we need to talk about is their Rumble kit, because this might be one of the new best characters in Rumble that we have seen. This character is so absurdly strong, and the thing about this character that is scary is you can put this on any team and it is going to help you out. This definitely feels like one of these rainbow-ish style characters that they really want people to abuse, like for new players to come into the game, they don't know what to get. This is that character that's going to help you out in almost all facets. So let's go ahead and break it down. So remember, in Rumble, this unit is not going to be classified as a typing, they're only going to be classified as a free spirit and a striker character. So if you want to synergize them with other teams, you have to synergize them with free spirit or striker, unfortunately. So their Rumble special, 33 CT, targets all enemies for 3.5 times attack. Then after 50 seconds of the battle, you attack all characters for a further 3.5 times attack as damage. And then targets one high defense enemy, ignoring defense for 2 times attack as damage. Just the amount of damage you are dealing after 50 seconds is crazy. 3.5 damage to all enemies, 3.5 damage to all enemies, and then one target gets absolutely nuked. So at a bare minimum, the way that I see it is when this character launches a special, at least one character will die, as long as that special is launched after 50 seconds. But the fact that you can launch 3.5 times damage 2 times to all characters is way too good. And the fact that you stack this with the other effects, right? So special is godly, really good special. Like you could just have this as like one of your bench units, comes in late game and just absolutely sweeps. We're talking about like V2 Dofi levels of good, and we already know how good he is in Rumble, but this character is like better because it can be injected into any team and benefit you. As we look at the character's Rumble ability, your entire team gets level 5 attack and level 5 defense. Like that is so good. And then free spirit characters get level 6 crit, level 6 speed, and after 50 seconds have passed, your whole team gets level 3 CT speed up. This unit is a little too good. Now, obviously, the big issue is the fact that it is a Luffy and a Yamato, which means you cannot overlap them with other Luffy and Yamatos. So you can't use Sai Yamato with this character, you can't use Ace and Yamato with this character, you can't use Luffy crew with this character. So there are some, drawbacks, I guess, in a way. But we all know how good Free Spirit are, and we all know how good Striker have been currently, at least we've seen it in the recent GP meta. This character is going to be very good in Rumble. Now, this character also has GP stuff. So we'll have a look at the burst skill. The burst skill is also very good. But you do have to launch 9 full attacks, which is actually pretty difficult to do. Now, the effect, you can launch it twice per match, and it targets all enemies for 4 times leader's base attack 2 times. Now, there are characters, GP leads in the game that I have used in the past that have been able to provide 4 or 5 times leader's skill to either all enemies or a wide range of enemies, and it's okay damage, but we've never had it where you can just launch it and you get 2 hits of damage. Like, this is a lot of damage that a lot of people really have to take notice of. And then it targets teammates with HP 50% or below for a level 8 attack buff and a level 8 defense buff for 30 seconds. That part of the effect is pretty nice, but it is a little niche, but the actual damage you get from this special is incredibly strong. So it is what it is. Burst special is fine. And then in terms of the Rumble leader skill, Free Spirit get level 6 attack and speed and level 3 defense. Strikers get level 4 HP, crit percent, and blow away, and your entire team gets HP and attack 3 and special CT up level 2. So no matter where you go in Rumble, you can have this character be a really good benefit to your crew. As you can see, buffs Free Spirit, buffs Striker, but can also just buff all characters as well. This is one of the best Rumble units in the game, which is crazy to say. Like, this unit is so strong, and definitely a unit you have to be very careful of. So that's all the information that we have currently for the brand new Luffy and Yamato character. I'm actually kind of excited now to give this character a shot, just due to the raw power that this character gets access to. But I will admit, I'm still not excited the fact that it's a Luffy and a Yamato together. I would have preferred it if it was a Luffy and a Momo. Would have been way more excited if it was Luffy and Momo. But, more Yamato representation, yippee, I guess. And the fact that it doesn't have access to the new Rush Sugo special mechanic, that's also another thing about this unit that I really don't like. But all in all, you can't deny it. It's a very strong Super Sugo Fest exclusive character. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. We're going to have another video coming up shortly breaking down the brand new Odin and Toki characters, so stay tuned for that one. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, and if you guys did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.